Alrighty guys, welcome back to Bakemonogatari. We are starting episode 2. The last episode we met all of our characters. We got Araragi, we got Senjogahara, we have Hanakawa, and we have both of the Oshinos, Meme and Shinobu. We don't have a whole lot of, got a whole lot of questions already, and not a whole lot of answers, which I guess would have been kind of weird if we had a lot of answers, because, it's the first episode. Whatever, we're starting episode 2. There's a Patreon link down below if you want access to full-length, picture-in-picture, unedited version of this reaction and all my other ones. But, yeah, we are going to be starting this in 3, 2, 1... Tami Kuraso. It means something apartments, right? So I gotta lock in. This doesn't seem like a luxurious home. Ooh. A cult. Interesting. Belly button. God, I love this. I'm not gonna lie, I've probably listened to this opening 50 times. I was just listening to it on repeat at work the other day. It's so good. It's interesting. Her mother lost everything in a cult and her parents divorced, and wow, okay. We didn't hear about any of that from Hanakawa. I guess her information was a little bit outdated. It's interesting. This is sang by Senjogahara's voice actress. And like yeah, I don't know. It makes me wonder if we're gonna have different openings when for the different arcs, because this is called Hitagi Crab. This opening obviously has a staple theme to it, and it's sang by Senjogahara's voice actress. Alrighty. You can only save yourself. Oshino has always said that. Oh, yeah. So much text. I want to read it so bad just based off that. That only being able to save yourself thing was very intriguing to me in the last episode. And it's, yeah. Oh, man. Because you can only help yourself. You can only save yourself, right? God, I have so much stuff I want to say, but I can't. I have to read. I feel like I wasn't locked in enough in the last episode. Not too bad. Oh, really? For Hanakawa. 5 million? Man, I love the shots. Ooh. Because, yeah, I mean, he said he wasn't going to help her. He would just lend a hand. Oh, yeah. Can they even afford 100,000 yen? Yeah, she said, you gotta move. Come on. What? Towels are for poor people? Alright, man. I see. What kind of question is that? Hello? Is she done? Hmm. Critique? Her face there. Guys can't either. That's true. That is true. Okay, like, come on. Thank you, Araki. Oh, she knows. Didn't seem like that to me. They just seem like friends. That's kind of a sad way to look at it. Mm-hmm. That's what Oshino said. Was that what the cat thing was about in the last episode? Hmm. Aragi, what's going on, man? Depends on how you look at it. Oh, the hair. That looked good. Hmm. Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember that. When he was talking about the moon. That one line in the last episode. I've never heard that. It's a very specific way to say that. Whoa. Hmm. Makes sense. It's theoretically possible. I love their some good banter. That is true. Man, that was a good scene. Well, every scene in the show has been good so far. So, oh, I love that shot of their shadows. Is that Oshi now all dressed up? Oh my god. How it's so good. Just the visuals. Okay. Is his specialty in school? Is that what he said? Hmm. They were really had to get prepared, apparently. Haven't improved? What do you mean by that? Nymphomaniac cat. Interesting. Shinobu attacked him? Hmm. Interesting. It's very interesting. This whole crab thing. That line right there, what she said about how it's right beside her or whatever. It just makes me think. I'll talk about it later. I wish I had time to speak. Hmm. Haragi doesn't look impressed for some reason. Whoa. It's a very cool visual effect. Sorry, I feel like I haven't been saying much, but I'm just like entranced by it. Mm-hmm. July 7th. Hmm. Probably how I felt. That's a rough one. Stuff about her mom and the cult, maybe. Oh. Oh no. Oh. She must blame herself for, like... Yeah. Yeah. Heavy. Hmm. Is that what the weight is? You know? The weight of the trauma and the, things she doesn't want to think about. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's just like she has to face what happened to her and her thoughts about it, I guess. He likes saying that, doesn't he? Guess he is gonna help her, huh? Question of self-reflection, yeah. But you don't want to dispose of it, right? I mean, you don't just want to dispose of the, representation of trauma. Can't blame you. Mm-hmm. Araragi seems to have a very strong reaction to her doing this. Or if it, I'll talk about it at the end. Oh. Oh. Oh, man. Oh, a serious illness. Oh my god, that would just be another thing that would make her blame herself about it. The fact that her being sick and ill is what made her mother um, want to go to a cult in the first place. Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh. Hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Came too much for her to bear. God, it recontextualizes her behavior so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cheating herself out of a lot. Mm-hmm. But it's the feelings themselves that matter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. It's like a piano rendition of the opening. She sounds different. Oh. Oh, he has sisters? Oh, they're okay. Oh. That's what Oshino said. That was so good. I'm sorry if it seems like I didn't say that much at times. I just like that was so good. Oh my god. Fuck. That was so good. God, it recontextualizes so much of Senjogahara's behavior. I'm gonna have to think about some stuff. That was so good. Man. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have so much stuff to talk about. I'm just thinking. Hmm. God, I'm really interested in Araragi. That's for sure. I have some thoughts about him that might just be completely unfounded. Hmm. God, I love this ending. So good. Hmm. I'm just gonna read the subtitles. I'm trying not watch too much. What are they talking about? A jungle gem? It's a false advertisement. What? Despair special? Okay. They're saying quiz, not riddle. That what? When? Huh? Okay, I don't know. Oh, okay. Maroi Snail, part 1 is the next episode. Alrighty. Well, that was really good. I will see you guys in the discussion. Alrighty, let's go through the episode. So, this episode was really good. Again. Oh god, the music has been such a standout part so far. The music and the visuals have been like incredible and just like insanely good. I mean, I think this is the most visually interesting anime I've ever seen. It looks so good. It's like crazy. Oh god, it's just like it all looks so good. Anyway, god, there's so much stuff I want to talk about. I don't even know where to start. I guess I'm gonna start. God. So we have this scene at the beginning with So where do I even start? So we have this scene at the beginning with. I'm just gonna jump to this now because this is what I'm thinking about, right? We have this scene at the beginning with Sindrugahara being weird and like very God, I guess I don't know how to word it. She's being very like, you know, she's doing this with Araragi here, right? And what I was thinking is like, now that we know her past, now that we know about this terrible thing that happened to her, right? You know, specifically the event of the guy coming to her house and trying to assault her, you know. I think it would be impossible for her in this situation, with having experienced that in her life before, her behavior in the previous episode makes a lot more sense. The persecution complex that Aragi calls it, because it's like, I mean, yeah, you wouldn't be able to help but think about that in a situation like this, right? Your male classmate is leading you to an abandoned school, destroyed building, alone, and you show up. There's another old guy there, and like they tell you, yeah, we can help you if you take a shower and you come back at midnight in the middle of the night. Like it makes a lot of sense that she would have this persecution thing that Aragi was talking about, right? Because she's had that experience of almost being assaulted before. It would be something that would be, you know, it would be impossible for her to not be thinking about it in this situation, you know. And I feel like, I mean, I guess I don't know what to call this. I guess I don't know to say if this is like her like testing Aragi almost. Because obviously the way he acts like such a loser. Not to be mean to Aragi, but he acts like such a loser here that like I feel like it must assuage some of her fears, right? Because I'm like 100% sure that's what she's thinking about. That's probably part of why she does this. I don't want to say that she's doing this specifically to like test him or something, but I guess I don't know why else she would do this. But that's just absolutely something she was thinking about and was like definitely a worry on her mind, you know. So that scene makes a lot more sense to me now, and it makes sense. Aragi reacting like this, I think would. Yeah, I think it would help her fears some to not think like, oh, that something bad is going to happen to her when she goes back to the abandoned building at midnight with two people she doesn't know. So, you know, it's interesting. Their banter here in this scene was so good. I mean, the dialogue is hilarious. A big fan. God, now where was that text at the very start? Was it right before? I think it was right after the opening. I do want to read this because it starts with "You can only save yourself," which is very interesting. Is my frame by frame not working? Hello? Or does this one just last a long time? Oh, that one just lasts a long time. Okay. So it starts with, you can only save yourself. Oshino always said that. So I'm going to assume this is from Araragi's point of view. I'm going to assume this text is from Araragi's point of view, right? Because Araragi is our narrator, right? So he's thinking about how Oshino has always said, you can only save yourself. Okay, but that seems like an Oshino line. I assume that's Ojo-chan, not, you know. And I think that's what Oshino is calling her. You can only save yourself. One young man, a good young man. One day he met a wondrous old man in the city. The old man asked that young man to sell his shadow. Shadow? Yes, the shadow that comes from your feet when you are lit by the sun. 10 gold coins is what he asked for. That young man sold it without hesitation for 10 gold coins. And the young man didn't even think once that his shadow had more worth than 10 gold coins. Well, wasn't he right? Practically speaking, not having a shadow is hardly a disadvantage. There isn't any constraint. Oshino continued speaking while increasingly gesturing. Yeah. But in the end, it didn't go well. The young man was persecuted by townspeople and family. It was just out of place. It's weird for someone to not have a shadow, they said. Well, that's it. It's just weird. Well, shadow itself can be weird too, but not to have any shadow is 100 times more weird, like something normal is missing. So, young man sold his normality for 10 gold coins. I'm just thinking about that, like, in relation to the weight that Shinjogahara gave up, you know? I feel like I could go crazy and say some insane things that you could say the weight is a representation of. And, well, no, not the weight. The weight I have a pretty good grasp on what's a representation of. The shadow, what's a representation of. But I don't think I can really connect anything. To me, when I think about a shadow and what it could represent, I think, like, the effect you have on your surroundings and other people, like in relationships or just in general. But I'm not gonna, there's not much else there. I'm not gonna go crazy with that. Silent voice. So, let's see here. Yep, so he asks her to go shower, meet her at midnight, and yeah, and it's like this face she gives him here. This is just me, it's just, it would be impossible for her to not be thinking, to not be worried about, you know, considering what she's been through, the whole almost being assaulted thing in the past. It's like, yeah, come back to this place at midnight with two men you don't know, like, at all. Even though I think it is interesting, Shinjogahara knows more about Araragi, a lot more about Araragi than Araragi knows about her, right? Shinjogahara knew about him being friends with Hanakawa, and I'm just now remembering as well that she knew about him having sisters, which I was surprised by at the end of the episode, but they did mention this last episode. They did mention he has sisters last episode, I believe. And it's like when Hanakawa, when in the first episode, when Araragi was asking Hanakawa about Shinjogahara, Hanakawa said, like, oh, it's weird for you to be interested in someone else, you know? So it seems like Araragi is kind of a closed-off person who doesn't really, you know, probably doesn't have many friends. We haven't seen any friends of his other than Hanakawa, right? So, you know, it does make sense, because Hanakawa said that Shinjogahara and Araragi had been in the same class for, what, 3 years? So it's not that weird that she knows about him. Just, Araragi is the weird one for not knowing anything about her. And it's like her asking... God, I could really say some crazy stuff about her asking him about what the cost will be. I mean, I have to think about it. I feel like there is some stuff I could say that would be totally unsubstantiated. That's just like insane interpretations of it that I really don't think I need to go into. No, I'm not going to go off the deep end yet. That's for sure. But it is interesting. He says, so here's where he mentions that he helped Hanakawa before, right? He says he's going to charge her 100,000 yen, which isn't that much. It's like, what, $800, I think, right? And Araragi complains, right? Yeah, so Oshino says he charged Hanakawa, the class representative, 100,000 yen because he helped her with the cat thing. He mentions the nymphomaniac cat later in the episode as well, which is interesting because we saw when we first saw Hanakawa in the last episode, Araragi had those flashes of Hanakawa like being a cat, like being possessed by a cat, I guess, right? Because she was like a cat girl. And Oshino charged Araragi 5 million yen, which he isn't very happy about. God, you could I'm sure you guys know what I mean, but you could interpret her saying stuff like this in a very dark way. Um, her saying, no matter what I'm gonna have to do, when it's like she has gone through that path of thinking before with like when she was thinking about how if she had just let the cult official assault her, then it could have kept her family together. I just think that's obviously that's a terrible thing to think. That's not something you should like go through with. Obviously, that's a horrible thing to even think. But her saying this reminds me of that same kind of thought process, which is just kind of sad. And then we're here. Aragi's thinking about 100,000 yen while he's looking around their apartment here. And it's like, yeah, can they even afford 100,000 yen when this is, the state of their... Yeah, he seems like he's rethinking about how harsh that charge is now. And then this is when she, does all this, which I gave my explanation for at the start, which I think makes sense. Aragi likes astronomy. Good to know. Good to know. I really love they have some really good banter. It's very funny. It is very funny. And now, so this whole crab thing, they mention a lot about crabs that I'm worrying is some kind of cultural gap in understanding that I don't have about Japanese like culture and stuff. I feel like there has to be some kind of connection for the reason why this god is a crab, right? The god that is a representation of her trauma and her just all of this stuff that happened to her about her mother and the cult and her blaming herself for it and all of this. The reason it's a crab, I feel like has to be relevant in some way. Like in this line, her saying crab is very delicious. I feel like it has to mean something. There has to be some meaning behind why it's represented by a crab. But I don't know what it is. I'm just like 100% sure there has to be meaning behind it that I am unable to, I don't know. Because obviously, there's the word play between Kani and Kami, which is crab and god, right? God, the shot's so beautiful. It looks so good. Man. This tree in the middle of the abandoned school has been very interesting. They've shown some cool shots of it. It's kind of weird. It makes you want, like, is it inside of the... Because, I mean, it seems like it's, like, inside of the building. Maybe it's just behind it, but I just don't understand how that even happens. No, because there was the shot... Unless I'm in... I mean, I'm at 1047 right now. Yeah, no, the tree is inside of the building, which... How does that even happen, I don't know. That's very strange. Very strange. We're here. And it's like, I wonder, Yeah, he says this weird thing about how Araragi hasn't improved. I don't know what that means. Oshino likes to tease Araragi, it seems. And now here, he says this thing about Shinobu and the cat attacking Araragi, right? Where does he say it? I know he says it in a sec. Come on. Oh yeah, and here, this line too, unrelated, but her saying, Senjugahara saying, hey, is that crab still beside me? It's like, the crab is obviously a representation of her trauma and her feelings and everything she doesn't want to think about and address with this horrible stuff that happened to her, right? And it's like, yeah, it does never leave you, is it still beside me, and it's like, yeah, it always will be, I just like that as a it makes sense, I guess. I must have missed that line about Shinobu. Oh yeah, it was right here, Oh, come on. It was in between one of these. Oh, come on. Here we go. Yeah. Shinobu-chan and that nymphomaniac cat attacked you and that class representative out of malice. So, well, I guess I don't know. I don't know if this is like respectively Shinobu attacked Aragi and the nymphomaniac cat attacked Hanakawa, right? Or if he's saying both of them attacked both of them. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. The only information we have about Shinobu is Aragi saying she used to be a vampire. I assume Shinobu then is the one who, made Aragi a vampire, right? Attacking him out of malice. It's just weird that Shinobu is like, I don't know, she just sits in the corner and mopes all day, I guess. It's like she lost her powers or something, right? Because it's like what Aragi was saying is how she's the dregs of a vampire or something, right? And then this is where, it's all brought up about her, what she was repressing. And it's like, it really does make sense. Her behavior, God, I mean, it's so relatable, It's like, the value you can find, maybe not the value, maybe that's the wrong word, but just the importance of experiences you have had in your life, even if they're negative, right? It's something that you shouldn't completely compartmentalize and just ignore, Because it's like she said, what Sendra said is that she wants her mom back, it's like, not literally, I mean, I'm sure literally she does wish she could have her mom back, but it's also like, she can't think about her mom without thinking about all of this, right? So she just doesn't think about her mom, She can't cherish any of her memories or thoughts about her mother at all because she gave them away to the crab, As in, like, she doesn't think about it. She doesn't want to do the mental work required to, think about it and process it, Like, obviously I've never been through anything as awful as Sendra was here. But I feel like there's some stuff in my life I can compare it to that, like, makes sense. And it's like the really sad thing is like how she definitely blames herself for like all of this, How when she said that the reason why her mother was getting into the cult in the first place was because she was sick. Oh, it's just so sad. But I don't know. It seems like her behavior has already changed somewhat by the end. But yeah, I mean it is interesting. It's like it gave us a it makes sense why she would have that persecution complex. It makes sense why she would have the be so afraid, I guess, of and it's like, okay, if I take this to another level, if I take this looking at this even deeper here, right? Sindra mother, when Sindra was sick, her mother went out to this cult to try and like get help, look for spiritual guidance, try and pray for Sindra to get better, all of that, And her mother, that really didn't work out for her. That really kind of ruined everything, right? She fell into this cult, all of this terrible stuff happened. Which I feel like for Sindra, it would lead to like a distrust in receiving help from other people, Because look what happened to her mother when she tried to go out and get helped, And Sindra said previously in the last episode as well that there were people who scammed her or something, or I don't remember what her words were, but it was after Oshino said you can only save yourself. She was like, I've heard, con men say those words or whatever. So she has a very negative experience in the past with receiving help from other people, It's like this is the, finally she met Araragi, which even though Araragi, he didn't really do anything, and Sindra did Well, the thing is Sindra Gahara wouldn't have saved herself. She was so against getting help from other people, right? Her interaction she had with Araragi at the start of Bake, when he was talking to Hanakawa in the classroom and he walked out and she like attacked him. It's like she was doing the opposite of trying to save herself. She was, you know, completely rejecting any kind of help from other people, you know, which is my interpretation of what Oshino's line, "You can only save yourself," means, you know, is it's like you have to take that first step. You have to be willing to seek help and you have to want help at the very least to, you know, be saved, you know. So really, it really is Araragi. Araragi really is the only reason. He was so strongly wanted to help her, which for one is interesting that he wanted to help her so badly, which is like, you know, I mean, that's cool and all. I just wonder why. That's just, I don't know. That's we'll talk more about that as we watch, I'm sure. But it's like without Araragi, she never would have saved herself. It's almost like she didn't save herself, you know? She had to be pushed very severely by Araragi to come here and get helped by Oshino as well, you know? It's like, so Araragi, I imagine you could think like he didn't do anything. It was just Oshino who saved her. But without Araragi, she wouldn't have been here in the first place, you know, considering her behavior. Which again, I'm not blaming her for it. It makes complete sense. He has some sisters with weird eggs in their hair. Very cute. And then, oh, and I liked this. It's like, you know, he sees that he now weighs 100 kilograms, right? Which, like, if I'm thinking about it, like, here's what I was thinking about. So, like, it's it could be a representation of like him. He has taken part of Sindra Gahara's weight. You know, he has shared this trauma and these memories, the weight that she didn't want to deal with, you know, with her, right? So he has part of it now. You know, it's like a representation of other people and the impact that they have on you, and like what it imparts on you, I guess. You know, I mean, I might really be overthinking it. Just that. You know, obviously it's played as just a joke, you know, but I can't help but just think, you know, try. So, yeah, that was really good. That was really, really good. I don't know if there's anything else I really want to say. Well, that was a great second episode. Better than the first one, probably. Because, you know, the first one's kind of the setup for this one, so kind of makes, if you view them together, you know, makes sense. Yeah, that was really, really good. Well, again, if you guys want to see the full-length reaction portion, there's a Patreon link down in the description, or probably a pinned comment as well. It's only $2. And yeah, I guess that's it. So I will see you guys in the next one.